Hello, everyone, and welcome to our first Dojo Live show this week. Looking forward to it this November 1st, 2022. My name is Kim Lantis. My pleasure to be hosting along with America Guerrero today.
Hello, Kim. My pleasure.
Hello, America. And of course, the guest of honor, the most important person today is Susan Jeffers. She is the founder and CEO of XY Retail. Susan, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Kim, America. Good to be here. Excited to be here.
Yeah, all the way from Milan. Very chic of her. I'm a little bit jealous, but we're in Mexico. The weather is great. The beach is relatively close, so it's not
nice.
Not so
bad. Nice.
Yes. So Susan, I always get a lot excited when it's an all female panel. And so I'm really excited about this. And it actually has a lot to do with today's show in terms of your own story and what's led up to that, the fundraising that's led up to that. But before we get to the topic of today's show, we'd love to get to know you a bit better. If you could tell us a bit of your background, your passion, and sort of what's led up to XY. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. So, hey, I'm Susan Jeffers, CEO of I was born in India, in Bombay, and then I moved myself when I was 16 to Silicon Valley, and I went to school there. And for the last 4 years, I've basically been shuttling between New York, Italy, and India. And I love everything. So what drives me, I love everything retail, fashion, and technology. And since I started the company, I've had the fortune to spend time with brands all the way from the fabric mills to the factories, with sales associates in the stores, merchandisers in the back office, and with the brand owners on their boats. Yeah, go ahead.
No, that's great. The most important part, don't forget the boats.
Hey, you got to have some perks to this job, right? This job has to have something you can have fun with. It's very important.
Perfect. Well, I love your story. And I think it's really interesting, at least personally, perhaps this demonstrates some bias of mine. But sometimes when I think fashion and I think technology, they don't tend to come together. I feel like there's sort of, independent. Like one has to do with like real world problems and the other one has to do with something that's just luxury, maybe not as necessary. And so it's really interesting to see for me how these two things are mashing together and how it actually makes sense. So unbiased me, tell me all about XY Retail and what it is that you're doing with technology, the problem that you're solving.
I guess I'll start with my entrepreneur kind of journey. I think it really started, I got the startup bug when I was working at an incubator in the Valley. And I worked extensively across, about 50, 60 founders. And obviously startup companies. So I'm what you would call as a serial entrepreneur. This is my third company. And so being in the Valley for, 15 plus years, there was a lot of immersion, right? Technology is I just kind of loved everything about that. And my previous company, the first company actually I worked at, got acquired by the Find. And I also help advise and invest in a lot of these startups in consumer and enterprise technology. So where XY Retail comes in is, given my passion for fashion, I like, I've kind of, shopped across the digital and the physical spectrum. And what we see today is, look, retail is not what it used to be. While it's obviously fundamentally about buying and selling, and the customer journey today is completely non-linear, right? It's not a straight line, and there's no clear-cut path to purchase. Customers I don't see, whether I'm shopping online or I'm shopping in store. I don't see that channel. For me, it's kind of a seamless experience today. So but what am I looking for? I'm looking for that seamless, connected experience, whether I'm in the store, online, or in a kiosk. So XY sort of tries to, be that platform, or we are that one platform that seamlessly connects, the entire retail business, right, from the supply side to the demand side, and provides that the brands the ability to present themselves in a seamless kind of connected way to the consumer. So for me, connecting those dots, right, from technology to fashion, uh, it was a journey. I won't say it has just happened overnight, right? And it's just something I believe, fundamentally believe that, if you want to get into the entrepreneurial journey or become an entrepreneur, you have to do something that you're passionate about, and that's kind of where the intersection lies for me, is between technology and fashion and retail. And that's kind of where I decided that I want to
Yeah.
do something, and there was a problem that I wanted to solve.
Yeah, so let's talk to that problem in just a few minutes. But before I do, I think it makes a lot of sense too, because retail, fashion in general, how many billions of dollar industry is this every year?
I mean, look, I'm not an economist, but the fashion retail space alone is about a $3 trillion market.
Geez,
So
I
I
was off.
think it's it's not a bad market for a startup.
No, not at all.
So
And it makes a lot
yeah,
of
it's
sense
about
to
three
see how we can make
trillion.
it better. Oh, I apologize. I think there might be a slight
Exactly.
delay here, so it's not my
Okay.
intention to be speaking over you. But
No,
great.
no,
So I
it's
think this
fine.
leads up to a really great transition to the topic of today as chosen by you, which
which
is
Mhm.
is XY Retail Journey to the initial. Sorry, XY Retail Journey to Initial Funding. The journey of minor. Oh my God, what's happening
we
to me?
practice this. No, minority. It's a hard
Minority
one.
female founder CEO raising funding. Sorry for that. Could you
It's okay.
please share
Yes.
with us why this topic is important for today's show?
Yes, absolutely. I think obviously I've always been. I tell this to, I should tell my parents this, that my parents, in India, religion is kind of a leading sort of, in your culture, in your life. It's a leading thing that it's part of your journey, part of your life in India. So my parents come from different religions in India. They've, fell in love, and was very, very controversial in the 70s. And so as a result, I've always been a minority of minorities. I used to always call I'm a minor, so I'm a woman, and they come from minority religions in India. And so to kind of some extent, it was uncomfortable, but at the same time, it was, I was comfortable with being that minority. You know what I mean? So I don't know if you understand this, but it's being a woman, being a minority in India, and then coming to the Valley, getting into technology. It's again, being a woman in
Yeah.
technology is not, it's still, I mean, we're getting there, but I don't know if we're close, but at least we're making, strides in the right direction. So for
Mhm.
me, this topic is important because I think, it does factor in terms of what do the VCs and what does the investment community sort of, how do they approach their investment and the investment philosophies when it comes to a man versus a woman. And I did notice it to some extent. I mean, I'm not as much probably as a lot of other women, but I did notice it, and I realized one thing which was very interesting is, for a woman, I think the product and the vision has to be, way better in terms of the barrier to, I mean, the burden of proof is way
Mhm.
higher than it is for a man, I think. So that's kind of why I decided that this would be on my team, and I decided that this would be a good topic for me to talk about.
Yeah, and I think it makes a lot of sense. Like you're saying, thankfully, more and more women are breaking through, and stories like yours are becoming less and less unique. Right? It's
Mhm.
just what we want to happen. And I think that was going to be one of my first questions: is this difference that you kind of already highlighted between what you've observed, traditional man trying to get his funding for his idea and his company versus a woman doing that and these other hurdles. One of those things is okay, women, when you're going after that funding, be prepared. That initial burden of proof, you have to come in with even more. What other sorts of differences or sort of tips, ideas might we be able to utilize to help ourselves in this kind of approach? And I think we could do it on the flip side also of, those who are the VCs, the people who are doing the funding, like be aware that this is happening and that this isn't okay. But let's just first start with you as a woman. What can we do to help us be more successful when we're trying to come in to the funding?
I think, the being, I think we just have to be a bit more, we have to do a bit more. That's just the nature of it, right? But we just have to be very careful in that sort of notion leading the way, right? Even though we know that there is, there discrimination exists, okay? Across the board. But we have to still have, positive attitude and not let that negativity, because that's what it is, right? It is kind of a negative emotion that tends to lead us into these conversations and present it like, I'm here as a matter of fact, this is the product, this is my vision, and this is the market. So if you just focus on the product and the market, which is what the VCs want to listen to, and come less from a place where I'm a woman, I'm a minority woman, I think that would go a long way, and at least initially, taking away that barrier, making the VCs realize that, hey, this person can be, a rational individual and be smart about it, rather than leading from your emotional or that baggage, if you will.
Yeah. So in some ways, it's just like you were saying earlier, you've always been proud of and comfortable, right, in your own skin and carrying that through with you and just letting your product and your vision speak for itself.
Yeah, and use it as a strength, right? Use it as a strength and say, hey, I got through a lot and I'm here, and I must be doing something right. So, so that's kind of use that as a strength, and just ignore the rest.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. You mentioned that you started 3 companies. Well, how do you think that there has been like a difference? Because I know that, well, with these 3 companies, you got funding, right? What was the difference between these 3?
In what sense? As in,
Like, how have you seen it progress over time?
Exactly.
yes, absolutely. I think I have progressed, right? I have grown, and I've gotten better. I've learned a lot of lessons. I think even being a bit more extrovertish, being more understanding and empathetic. I think just as part of my personal growth. So yes, all the 3 companies were in retail in some shape or form. But I think it was me who changed. I changed along the way. So I think this one, yeah, this one
Yeah.
has honestly been the most fun, I think. Uh, and in terms of traction and growth, I couldn't have planned a better story.
Oh, I love it.
So yes.
One of the things that you tapped into just now in your own personality, and I think was alluded to earlier when you were speaking to XY itself, and that was this word of being empathetic, empathy, which I believe tends to be more of a female trait than it does be a male trait. And I think this is one of those things that we could actually utilize to our advantage, right? And you were mentioning with XY, and when you're putting together your platform and what it is that you're doing, that you interact and you visit with every single person along that supply chain and every component that is retail, right? I think for us, it's easy to think like retail is you sell things, right? You have a store and you sell things, but there is like so much more. That's just like the tip of the metaphorical iceberg, right? So how has this type of empathy or this ability for you to really understand the problem make your product an even better product?
Oh, I mean, I wouldn't be, the product wouldn't be here if it wasn't for us actually sitting in the stores and talking to sales associates and all the back office merchandise managers and e-commerce managers. I mean, we built it working with them, right? I mean, we're not two guys in a garage, in a Silicon Valley garage, right? We actually went and sat down and put our own spent our own money and our time to understand what we had a good idea of what the problem was, but sitting down with them and yes, I think the empathy to the business user is, I think in technology and especially in the enterprise technology space, I think that it's really lacking because it's everybody's just looking at profit margins and I mean, of course that is important, but I think that connection with the end user of your product is key. I mean, that's core to core to XY. I think as a team, I think that's kind of something we embody as a team. We sit down and that has really accelerated, I think, our product development and our product market fit. Without that, I think we would not be here. So, or our product would not be here. And I think it's key to every company, every startup. We need to be close to our customers. Without that, it's not. And you need to get customers quickly, and you need to understand what they're looking for. And then give them not what they want, but understand what they need, and give them something better.
Huh. I like that. Not what they want, but what they need, because sometimes we don't even realize what it is, right? That we are needing. So let's take it back a bit to the actual XY retail journey. What was this journey for you? As much as you can share with us, can you sort of walk us through the timeline of when you started and the very sort of purposeful decisions that you made along the way?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, this company we started in 2018, right? So it's about 4 years old. It's self-funded. We self-funded initially because we always had the vision of being the platform for retail, right? And it's not something. It's not an app here and an app there. It's like a huge undertaking of a massive undertaking of multiple applications and workflows that that don't exist sometimes today, and then moving a lot of these brands to mobile and to the cloud. So for us to that was the reason why I didn't raise funding too early, and we assumed the initial risk from the investor. I think that was crucial, again, a key decision point for us. And so we worked on the our idea on our own dime, but we got customers very early in our journey. So we started building out the platform along with our customers. So our customers almost became our investors in this case. So again, another key decision was to get customers early. And that sort of validated our idea, as well as got us to that product market fit, which is what VCs are looking for. So once that happened, then we got customers in various different parts of our idea, but I needed one customer that could use our platform in its entirety, and that's kind of what we did. Was a good kind of reference point for the platform, which has 35 stores globally, manages their entire e-commerce on our platform, the entire back office. So they don't use any, so that's Isaia Napoli. They didn't use any other application besides using that. Now, we said, okay, now is a good time to maybe start looking for an investor, because the market started noticing because we did our implementation in record time. We took them live, in under 2 months. And so the market started noticing how quickly we managed to deliver to this customer. And then, I got a call. I got a call from another brand, which is, has 500 plus stores globally, and it's a very
Wow.
well-renowned
And that's how you
Italian
know when
luxury brand.
that's how you know when you've arrived, when you start getting the calls, right? Hey, we
Yes.
want to use your product.
So they were running an RFP, and we got part of the shortlist, um, and we are piloting our system in about 10 plus stores right now. And next year, I think we'll end up sort of moving up. I mean, installing our software or implementing our software across the globe in about 25 different countries. So so I mean, that's kind of really my journey, and between the first real implementation and this world-renowned brand, I kind of leveraged that situation, and I raised funding because I did need to show institutional money to these customers, and so those I think those are really key 4 or 5 points in my journey so far, and I think there will be a few more hopefully going forward.
Yeah.
But that's that's real. I'm actually looking to raise another round very soon in the next 4 to 6 months.
Oh, well, good luck with that.
Wow. I have a
Thank you.
question, and this is in terms of sustainability. Did I say
Mhm.
that correctly?
Yes.
I know that this is a
Sustainable.
big thing in the fashion industry, that every company is like struggling with this, is working to improving their processes and everything. Do you feel that there is a responsibility when you're selecting a brand that is going to be using XY retail, or how,
Or
or what
even
have
how
you seen?
XY can help with the sustainability factor. My
Exactly.
assumption is with, just the your ability to streamline things cuts back on simple things like waste. And
Yes, I mean that's another core thing, right? Besides customer, obviously, is customer satisfaction, customer success, as we call it, is a key core philosophy, core point in our company. But I think for me personally as well, I mean, as I said, I grew up in California. We've always been very sort of, it's in our DNA to be sustainable, to recycle. So as part of technology, I think fundamentally can solve two problems, right? One is, to your point, Kim, is just the operational efficiencies, right? So just making sure I have access to all my data in one place, and then see where can I sort of improve those process workflows. And then the second thing is paper, man. I mean, everywhere you're printing receipts and you're printing paper everywhere you go. So if I can be that platform where you come to the store and you don't need a receipt, you just kind of email it to me, right? And that's how we can manage. So paper is something it is really one of my biggest pet peeve. I love to write, but actually that's how I think as well. But there's places where you really don't need to print out paper. So if I can be one of those companies who can make a difference, fundamentally make a difference in reducing simple things like wherever you need to print, rather than you can email rather than print, that's sort of where I'm looking at. I'm not I don't want to solve world hunger. I don't think I'm qualified enough for that, or but wherever we can, yes, we don't print out. We I think technology can help solve these things.
yeah. Going back to what you were talking about earlier, and that was you wanting to secure, or rather needing to secure that customer, that client who's going to be using the platform in its entirety. What was that journey like for you and your team? Like, how did you walk through that process of sort of putting your sights on the right customer and kind of locking in and knowing that, yes, like this is what we need and we've got it. And then conversely, also then putting your sights on the right VC. Are there any sort of tips that you could lend to people sort of who are looking to kind of do that same thing? How do you find the right big customer, and how do you find the right fit for VCs?
So the customer, I think, it's just, I think I won't lie. I mean, I would say luck, there is such a thing that luck favors the brave, right? So it's
Yes.
just putting the hard yards, man. I think we just put the hard yards in, just boots on the ground, old school, meeting people. You've got to be resourceful, right? And just keep meeting enough people, talking about your vision, talking about your platform, talking about the product and what its benefits are. And you will find, you will invariably find the right customer if you have the right product. In terms of the VC, I think it's very important to find a VC who understands that vision and who understands the space. I think those are the two things. Is because especially for me, this is not a flip turn or like a quick flip, right? I'm not looking to flip the company, and this is a journey. This is a long journey. I'm a platform company. So somebody who I can, who can come along and understand that journey with us and support us throughout that journey was very important. And then the same core values, right? I mean, there's certain things I won't compromise on, and if the VC can understand that, along with adding value on the space in terms of hiring and into making the right introductions, I think that is going to be key, because it is like a marriage of sorts, yeah, quote unquote. So I need to know a few. You need to know these things before you get into
Yeah.
it.
Before you put a ring on it, for sure.
Yeah, exactly.
Nice.
So true.
Let's talk about the culture of your company. How is it looks like to work there? How do you select your employees? What are the values?
And the vision that you were laying out to know if it's the right, where's my hand, to put a ring on.
Look, I mean, at the end of the day, I want anybody who thinks about retail needs to think about XY. Okay, that's kind of where that's kind of at the core of it, is anything you need in retail, because retail is very dynamic, and they require a lot of features and functionalities, and then we're working with brands who are global. So it's a completely different kind of tech speak. We are talking about large scale scalability, security, and that's the thing I look for in the team, right? How do you build that trust, right, with the customer, and how do you build a platform that people can trust, or is it's trustworthy? So when I say platform, in this case, it's both for the for our customers as well as for the team, right? And the same thing, the platform has to be secure, it has to be reliable, so people need to kind of feel safe, and it needs to be fair, right? I think fairness is sort of a big part of it. And so and then you have to manage the team and the team identity. So what is that identity? So each one, even though we are a collective, but each one adds to that identity of the platform. So that's really what drives everything we do at XY. And those are the people I look for, right? People who my customers can feel secure with. They communicate well. They are empathetic to each other, and then just having a product first mentality. I want to have the best product in the market. Without that, we're nothing.
I love it. Well, thank you. Thank you very much, Susan. This was an enlightening conversation for sure, an empowering one as well. And what's really fun is, you're a ways into your journey, but I see that there's a long journey ahead, but not in the exhausting sense, but in the very exciting sense of that word. And
Yes, I
I
hope
certainly,
so.
or maybe a mix of both. Who knows?
You gotta work at it. Yes, you gotta work at it. But it has been. I mean, I feel like I've been very fortunate. So yes, yes, very much.
That's amazing. We wish you and XY Retail nothing but success in the future as you're impacting the retail industry, of course. And thank you for also enlightening me and just how that mashup between tech and retail makes absolute sense. And I'm so proud to be able to speak to you, who's on the forefront of that. Hang on just a minute
Thank
as
you.
we
It's
go
been a
off air.
pleasure.
Yes, yes. Hang on just one moment. I would like to introduce tomorrow's show very quickly. Tomorrow, we're actually going to have the first segment of a planned 4 segments featuring AWS, Amazon's web services. So tomorrow, we're going to actually speak with Art Chan, who is a senior partner solutions architect, as well as Jose Murillo from Ancora, who is a DevOps engineer, talking all about right now being the right time to migrate to the cloud, which I think Susan also is working on. The cloud is where it's at. So join us tomorrow at 10 o'clock Pacific for that conversation. You're not going to want to miss it. Until then, stay safe, everyone. Thank you again, Susan.
Thank you.
Goodbye.